pray us in. And
Heavenly Father, thank you for Larry's frustration. A gracious Father in heaven, thank you for another day of life. Thank you for another day of sobriety. Thank you for our Lord and Savior and the gift of grace that we all need. We need to give, and we love to receive. Please bless this time. Please use our words, use our hearts, use our minds, Lord, to glorify you, to help another human being, alcoholic or not, does not matter. Our aim is to help and to love on those who need to be loved on today. It's in Christ we pray. Amen.
amen. Let's go to work.
Welcome back to Recovery Unfiltered. It's Rob and Larry in your ear again. We don't need letters before or after our names. Just two drunks with a lot on our brains. Sit back, relax, let us carry the load. We've walked that dark.
Are you ready? You ready, brother?
I'm ready. That's growing on me.
You know what?
That's a catchy little song.
It is, dude. It's hard for me. Have you ever listened to the whole song?
No.
The whole song is pretty darn good.
I got an attention span like.
Yeah, but that one right there will keep you grooving just a little bit.
Catchy.
I like it. So we are back with just Rob and I and Katie. Where's Bonnie? She didn't want to come?
She's making bread right now.
She's making bread?
She's struggling.
Really? With what she was her.
Well, she cried as we were leaving because those two butt heads, like, you can't fucking believe.
Really?
Oh, because they're so much alike. They're enough different. But
when you say you left, you were over with your daughter
in
at
Hayward.
school. Yeah.
As we were driving away, she starts crying. She's not a crier. I mean,
no, Bonnie is not a crier.
She's got to be in like immense pain or
right
to show that weakness.
She crying is because she's missing her.
She missed her daughter.
Yeah, she doesn't have that. Yeah, that
sucks.
But
if Emily came down after about 12 hours, they'd be at each other. I can't wait till she goes back. Is what you'd hear. You know, they
Mama's got to leave her though. It's different when she's going, when Mama's staying home and she's leaving.
And now she's got the boyfriend because at least 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day she'd call her mother.
Oh boy.
What are you doing? But now she don't call at all, so it just got cut off. So
oh boy.
Yeah, whatever. It's good.
But Bonnie still has Logan, so that's all is good.
Oh yeah, Logan ain't going nowhere. Logan's steadfast, buddy. He's just
God bless her the day she's stuck with you all alone.
She'll be in trouble. She gonna be in trouble.
No. I don't know about all that. Well, welcome back. So we are recording twice today. Rob and I are going to record. I'm going to try. Let's try to make a point to you and I record more together at the same time, just the two of us. And because Bonnie and Katie
we would record at opposite times.
No, dummy. Like without guests, just you and me, just you and me. That song? Just you and I. So yeah, I think I like that only because, you know, when I was listening to the one, I always listen to this. Everybody thinks that I listen just because I want to hear myself talk, but that's not it, because I critique us, right? I critique me, I critique you. We talk about it.
That's why I don't. I listen to it one time after then because I know I'm going to get my critique from
you.
I'll get my constructive criticism from Larry.
You know, I don't like what the words I say, and Katie gets on to me about the F-bomb, and I'm trying. Hey, you know what? Speaking of the F-bombs, I haven't heard about Tammy in a while. She's still listening? She hasn't given us a critique in a while.
Well, her and Bonnie talk all the time, so I don't know. So I'm sure she does.
Anyways, fuck you, Tammy. There's for you, Tammy. Oh my God. What? I haven't heard from her in a while. I bet that'll get her to call.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I want to try to do these recordings prior to. We got a guest coming today. Why do I feel like I'm echoing? I don't know.
Sound good.
Do I?
Yeah, to me.
Thank you. Maybe I'm too loud to myself. So anyway, so that's what we got going on today. And we're going to get over a couple things. So I want to talk about Brandon and Jamie came over yesterday. I got a little project for Brandon I'm going to have him do for me. And Jamie came in.
He's handy.
Yeah, I got some sheet metal work I want to have done. So Jamie came in and she just come bebopping through the garage and went right into the house. Her and Katie had here chit chat, which was fun. And when I came back in, they were talking about something. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Well, Jamie has started, since she's been on the podcast, Jamie has started her journey, which I absolutely love it. And her journey is her page is peace_beyond_addiction. And it's just, her.
At Instagram.
Yeah, at Instagram. Thanks. See, I got Katie a hot mic over there.
Repeat that one more time.
Go ahead, Katie.
Please, Katie.
Okay. So it's peace_beyond_addiction. And that's on Instagram, right? That's where she's at. And she's kind of walking through her steps as she got sober. I mean, one of her things was...
She didn't get sober?
No, I'm sorry. As Brandon got sober. Right. Sorry. And what her biggest thing is, you know, we celebrate our sobriety every year with our anniversaries and our birthdays and blah. She's like, well, what about us, right? What about us? You know, Katie hears me. There's a lady that I follow. Why I follow, because she just gives me anxiety and stress. But she talks negative about the alcoholic. She really does. She talks negative about the alcoholic and how the wife.
Is she an Al-Anon?
I sure sounds like it to me and how I follow it, and it frustrates me to hear it because
Wait. Does she talk negatively about the active alcoholic?
She does. Yeah. And and how women shouldn't stay with alcoholics and recognize the signs, and you know, it's tough on the, and everything she's saying is true. There's nothing wrong with what she's saying. It's frustrating because we do recover, right? We do.
No, we can.
We can. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. We can. And
from a seemingly hopeless state of body and mind.
So Jamie's thing is that she's trying to give positive feedback to, you know what? Yes, it's a rough road that they go down. It's a rough road that they go through, but the reward, right? The reward is amazing. And this is how, and so she's going through that journey.
Well, her and Bonnie share the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you know, Katie loves it. You know, Katie, all the wives that we've had on here, they've all been through struggles, right? There ain't one wife that's been on.
Look what we put them through.
Oh, God. And so listening to her talk about that, it was fun, right? Because Jamie, she's awesome. I mean, she had the courage to come on here to do the things she does, and it kind of opened her up and got her to where she wants. That's her journey, and good for her.
Well, I love it. That's the gift God gives us. We have a ministry, everybody does, and so when can you imagine going and facing Him when we stand before Him, and He says, "Well, you know, you're in, but can you imagine? This is what I had for you. This is what I had for you to do. If you'd have just followed, if you'd have just asked,
if you would have just followed, and that that's one of the things why you and I still do this podcast, because it laid it on my heart and it laid it on yours to follow me, and here we go. So that's fun. I wanted to talk about that one a little bit. Sarah's podcast, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Michelle, but we've had a few podcasts on here that just went absolutely viral, right? And when I mean viral, I mean for us it's viral. And Jim Hart's, which was the fireman, the first responder that we had on a long time ago, his went really crazy.
He paid a lot of people in Colorado.
I bet. Well,
he paid off a lot.
I'm going to tell you right now, when I started looking at the analyticals yesterday, I had to call Sarah and go, "Who did you pay off in Texas?"
I saw that. Yeah.
Jesus criminy! It blew up in Texas. Isn't it funny
what God chooses to do with
yes.
That?
I looked at that and I'm like, why on earth did this one resonate so heavy in Texas? Yes.
There's some daughters over there.
My goodness gracious! Maybe because she talked about the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe that's what spread it. I don't know, but it was an absolute. It's going very well. Her story is an amazing. If you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to Sarah's and Michelle's. Is awesome. Those are the last.
And it was
two.
It was one that didn't necessarily. I mean, it had a happy ending for her. I mean, as far as growth and where they're going now, but it's not a happy ending.
No. It's absolutely for the alcoholic. It wasn't a happy ending, or for the addict.
It's not the storybook ending that you all want, or something that some of us had. That we usually have. The good, the pain, and then there's a light at the end of the tunnel. They didn't have that.
And that. But watching Sarah walk through it, and I've been in contact with her other two sisters, right? I'm still playing that salesman role, right? I'm trying to get them because I want, as not Steve Harvey, but Paul Harvey used to say, I want the rest of the story, right? I want it. I want all three sides, and it's not for me, it's for our listeners. That's what I want, and hopefully that we will get that fairly soon. So. Anyway, so we have Stephanie's fiance, Parker, that's going to be on the next episode. He's coming in and talk about his recovery, and he's a CR. So I don't want you talking any shit to him over there, Rob. He's a CR. You already have. Yeah. So we are recovering, right? He is recovered, and he's done it through CR. So I'm kind of excited to get that. To see if we can get through that up. We haven't had anything but AA and NA on here. We haven't even had NA. We've only had
We tried. It's not for lack of effort, son.
I know. We have tried.
Come on. We've invited. Either we scared them off or they just...
We invited
both. No recovery in those places.
No.
I'm just kidding.
You are.
Maybe.
So we got that coming up. And then Saturday's meeting, you have missed the last couple.
And I'll miss the next one, too.
Well, I may miss it too because I want to come over and watch you.
2 Saturdays ago, I was working. My boss asked me.
I called you when I left there. Yeah,
he asked me to come in and make sure, and everything went smooth. We made. You imagine selling this product for $150?
No, when you were telling me about that, that was pretty incredible.
But it goes, just to make sure it goes. Within this week, I was with my daughter.
Yeah.
Next weekend, I'll be folding clothes with some guy wearing them.
I'm kind of excited to go. I want to go over and watch you because last time I went to watch you, it cost me $40 and you didn't even touch another soul.
Yeah, sucks.
So. But you have dropped what? 2 weights? One weight?
Well,
and an age group, right? You had to go down an age group?
Well, not to the 40-year-olds. No, but I did. But then now some cat jumped in, so I've got somebody.
Okay.
Yeah, so in my
But you
master's-
dropped down to 40s. You dropped down an age group.
I dropped down 2 age groups, but then
Okay.
it turned out some guy jumped into mine, so I went back up, and now
So you're only going to have one. You're only
guy,
going to have one
one guy.
round robin.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just stay down there so you can have some competition?
because then that leaves that poor bastard.
He needs to lose some weight and go down an age.
No, he's same weight.
Okay.
Just different. He didn't want to come down with the 40-year-olds, so I said, "All right, I'll come up with you, and we'll just go." So he didn't have to.
I was talking to somebody about you. Was talking and trying to invite another person into the podcast, and we talked about him before we Chance. His story. I actually reached out to his wife and his Jane, yeah, Chance's wife, the wrestler, the U.S. Open.
Oh, Marcelli.
Marcelli, I actually DM'd her right before and I was explaining, and I'm like, and my co-host is also qualified, or what? How did I put it? How did I put it? Anyways, talking about your high school wrestling, and then you battle cancer, you battle alcoholism. Now you're 50 years old and you're back to doing jiu-jitsu. And I was telling, I'm like, I got a pretty fucking amazing co-host if you really think about the shit that you've been through. You know
Quite a
what I'm
bit of
saying?
shit, yeah.
I haven't
Hey,
really put that all on paper, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I got a titanium hip as well, total hip replacement.
I got you beat on that
in the
one.
middle of all that.
I know. Yeah. So yeah, you're right, and you're doing all that with a fake hip. So that's pretty impressive. And
That's a God thing.
it's a God thing. I haven't got enough God in me yet.
Yeah,
so,
you do. It just takes. Hey, I look how further ahead I am
I
from
know.
all that stuff. Once you start getting that health going,
yeah, we're getting there.
I'll fold your clothes too.
There you go. And then yesterday, Scott's done an amazing job on that Saturday morning meeting, right?
Scott's good. I love Scott.
And his yesterday was his last one. I take over next month or next week. So I can't go to Santa Cruz next week. Anyway, so I take over next week. But Scott brought up a topic that I haven't heard in any of the rooms yet. And one of his topics he was reading from Living Sober, and he read, and his topic was what is one of the most impactful things that you've heard in all your time in sobriety. And just like he said, he goes, some of you have had thousands of meetings, some of you have had a couple meetings, but everybody's had. I'd like to know what your most impactful thing is.
That's tough. Most impactful.
Right. But I mean, it was easy for me, right? Mine is still Erica, right? That's still one of by far Angela. Sorry, I said Erica yesterday. Sorry, Angela's. I mean, once again, I don't remember the name,
she
but
heard herself
boy,
laugh for the
yeah,
first time.
I still one of the most.
When we were chairing the primary purpose, I was there.
Man, and I was just in one of my horrible funks, right? And the other one was Pat. Pat said one of the most impactful things he'd ever heard was acceptance does not mean you have to like it, just means you have to learn to live with it. Because that's something that I've always said. Acceptance 417 is probably one of my favorite things, right? It's how I learned to live with a lot of bullshit, as I accept it.
But it also helps us to accept the blessings and the grace that comes too, because we don't deserve it. Once we beat ourselves up worse than anybody,
Right.
And that's why I held on to everything with very loose hands,
Right.
like a loose garment, because I didn't deserve this, so and I didn't enjoy a lot of what I should have in early sobriety.
Because you weren't accepting all the stuff that was happening around you, and the blessings.
Yeah,
And the
because
blessings.
acceptance is not
Right.
just a negative thing.
Right. Right.
There's a lot of positive things we need to accept as well.
For sure. Oh, that's a true fact. And so then Brian, right? So there isn't a lot of people. Yesterday's meeting was one of the smaller ones we've had in a while. And then Brian was the last one to speak, and he kind of got drug into it because I don't think he really was going to speak. And he was talking about everybody in the room. He mentioned you, like 2 or 3 people mentioned some stuff that you had said, and he had mentioned some stuff that Pat had said. He's like, all this stuff. And then he goes, one of the most things that I say, and Brian, I don't think even Brian realized that he said this because it affected me what he said yesterday. And he said, the serenity prayer is one of the most impactful things he hears every day. And he says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And then he said, but it took me a long time to realize just because I can change something doesn't mean I should. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
that's where the wisdom comes in.
Holy cow. And when he said it that way, you're right. You're right. That's where the wisdom comes in, and I understand that, but I never heard it put in that direction, right? Just because I can change it doesn't mean I should. And I deal with that a lot at work, right? I've gotten way better at you know what? I'm going to let that one just sit there for a little while and see how it plays out.
Don't gotta fix it.
No, I don't have to fix everything. I mean, even though I spent half the morning trying to fix a camera that I couldn't. Anyways, I mean, I'm so anal about the cameras inside here, and literally we're not getting a lot of views. But that's okay. We're growing as far as people listening. But Katie was like, do people really watch? And I'm like, yes, they do. Damn it. I'm fixing the damn camera. Anyway, so
this is what they look
oh my God.
Look at that.
Good grief. Hey, so we got, which last week I was coming home from work and I was going over in Salinas, and I had to deal with something with a couple employees and one of the owners, right? And I ended up playing mediator in between one of the owners and another salesman, and it was ugly. It could have gotten really ugly, and so we sat through that, and it came out good, right? I mean, it was positive for some and negative in some other areas, but I was driving home and I was getting on the freeway and I was getting ready to get over the top, and it just dawned on me that I intuitively understood could deal with things that used to baffle me, and that just started rolling through my head, right? I'm like, 5 years ago, if I would have sat in this situation, I would have lost my shit on both of them, right? I couldn't have dealt with what I dealt with because both sides were so ridiculously what they were talking about and how they were trying to handle the situation. And I wanted so bad to interject and say, this ain't how it's going to work. This is what I'm going to do. And I just sat back and I mediated between the two, and I walked them through this. We kind of walked through the things together. And as I left there, I had both of them tell me, hey, thank you. That outcome of that was amazing how all this came out. And as I'm driving down the road, I started thinking about
the principles of the program.
Oh my gosh. And I'm like, that's the first
calamity.
It was,
you brought serenity into calamity.
Right. I matched it. And so that got me thinking, you and I have never really talked about the 9-step promises that, it talks to us that we go through in our book. So Katie had me a while back walk through the steps, right? A little bit one by one. And I thought, you know what? I want to walk through the 9-step promises. Prior to recording, we got into this conversation, and you said I prefer
the 10th step.
And I'm like, well, must not have had a very good sponsor because I only know the 9-step prayers.
But again, let me point something out. Remember one time where I probably said something, you admit I probably said something to you 5,000 or 6,000 times.
Right.
But when I said it to you the one time,
words matter.
You finally heard it.
I heard that.
Right, you finally heard it. And would you say you probably told me that 1,000 times? But I'm sure I've told you this 1,000 times.
Right.
It's just now. Oh, there are.
The 9-step promises are really, because I've always just said the promises, right? Because we read them. We read them before every meeting.
And every meeting, when you're sitting next to me, what do I say? Somebody has the promises, and I'll say 9th step. We need to specify because that's words matter. They're not just the AA promises. There's a lot of promises in this book, but they're what we call the 9th step.
So in the AA book, once I started going back and reading it, you're right. In the AA book,
it doesn't say nothing about promises.
No, but what we read comes right after the 9th step in our book, right? So on page 83, I'm going to read it real fast, and I want to break it down, go through it real fast. Those of you that are in AA,
and it's the same thing as
number.
We'll keep as you read. We'll go back through it. I'll show you where this is the same as number 10. Every time there's a look for a promise. Go ahead.
Okay. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness.
That's 2 promises right there.
We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it.
2 more.
We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace.
2 more.
No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. The feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle a situation which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises?
You bet your ass they are.
That's what's so funny. So, like I said,
aren't they though?
They are.
I can't. Cause we think not. Yeah, they are. If they weren't extravagant, we wouldn't want them.
Right.
I wouldn't want them. They're very extravagant, and we get them. If what? Where'd you first start out? If we are
painstaking
painstaking
about this development,
this phase,
right?
the
This
next
phase,
step,
right?
As in,
Correct. Well, now that we're rolling through that, so I mean, I think one of the the promises are not guaranteeing us a perfect life, right? It's an interchange in our life. That's what these promises are getting for us: bills, pain, family problems, work stress, health issues. It's all gonna be this, but a new way. But it's gonna give us a new way of living without being ruled by fear, shame, resentment, or alcohol.
Yeah.
Right. So I didn't really get to fully get those promises until probably about a year and a half, right? That's when I left the prior job. I started seeing things happen inside my life. Even this was well after I did the steps.
But we have a God of hindsight, don't we?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're really not just like you weren't ready to hear that one word I've been telling you 1,000 times until you were ready.
Right.
We're not ready for this to understand what the Spirit has for us, what God has for us, until we're spiritually mature enough for
Absolutely.
it. As we grow, heck, what guys would tell me a lot of times, you know what, Rob, I haven't thought about alcohol for like 2 weeks. And I just realized, and that's
Right.
a promise.
That's the promises,
You know?
right? The other things are just happening more and more in our lives.
We just start to recognize that.
Right.
We have eyes to see and ears to hear.
Right. And this, like, I didn't really, that coming home from that meeting the other day, that was really the first time I'd really like heartfelt that intuitively understand the things that used to baffle me. I just hadn't felt it put into daily practice of my walk, of my life. I hadn't really felt it. And I just remember, I called Doug. I'm like, dude,
That's a God shot is what that
it
is.
really
It's
was.
God let you know, hey, Larry, this is working.
I can't put this in a text to the guys because this is it's hard to put in words, in written words. Has to be, and I was talking to Doug about it, and he's like, it's an amazing feeling when I can sit in a meeting like that just seemed like just all this crossfire going on, where I really wanted, my old self would stand up and say, shut the fuck up. This is the way it needs to be done. That's stupid. We're not doing it this way, blah, blah, blah. Even I wouldn't have cared if the owner was sitting there. But
look at the positions God has put us in. Once He, before God gives you the desires of your heart, He's going to change your heart's desire, right?
Absolutely.
And then He puts us people. Look what He's in positions of.
I couldn't have been in this position I'm in right now 2 years ago.
Until we're
2
both.
years
So my
ago.
boss came back. My boss went to Georgia, Atlanta. There's up there every year. We're hosting next year. There's a bunch of owners and stuff and presidents, of construction companies, asphalt, and they go to different states and they host. And he goes, there was this one company that put on. They're bigger than us. They got 30 hot plants. They just got a $1 billion job in Georgia. He says, but Rob, they pray. He was telling me they pray before every lunch. They pray before every meeting. He goes, the Bible Belt and this and that. And he goes, and they just hired a full-time pastor. They hired
The company
hired a full-time pastor, for the mental health of this of the company, the mental health of the employees. He goes, and they're free to and then Corey goes, and he goes, and I told him we already have one of those.
Rob.
That's Rob. He goes, that's you. I was like, well,
That's funny.
But that's why God puts us, because I don't just sponsor men in the company.
No.
I counsel, or
Yes, you do.
as I bounce around. That's why He has us here.
That is a true fact. And like I said, I couldn't be in this position I am right now with this company 2 years ago.
Had you not had the boss you had,
Yes.
from after you left
Clark.
the two knuckleheads,
Yeah, Clark. Right. The promises, the point of spiritual change inside of a person, they show the recovery is not just about stopping drinking, it's about becoming free inside.
But hold on, this is what the most impactful things. There's two more you would talk about. I can't say the most, but two things that you talked about were the most impactful to me. Jay would always tell me, I got that, Rob, Alcoholics Anonymous is not about not drinking one day at a time. It's about living life one day at a time, happy, joyous, and free. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? I was brand new. What do I know? I was struggling.
Yeah.
Right. And then about 9 months sober, once I understood what Jay meant, I'm doing the deal. Gary Z looked across at me from the big Oakdale meeting, and I don't know why me. He just said, if you don't want your kids to grow up to be like you, quit being like you. And that's when God said, now you know what Jay's talking about. Right? It's not about not drinking. It's about being your father, being a husband. Right. And you better listen to these men because you don't know they know how to do it. You better start following. And it told me that I got a bigger job at home.
Yep.
It wasn't just about from meetings and not drink. And it's about being a man.
Absolutely.
A godly man.
The freedom may look like free from needing to prove myself all the time, free from carrying old resentments, free from needing everyone's approval, free from letting my past control my future, and free from trying to be my own God. Right? That's the freedom that we get when we go through these. A new freedom and a new happiness. And this does not mean it becomes easy. It means I may no longer be trapped in the same prison inside myself. Right? That verbiage when I hear that, because I always say that that's, Creed had a great song, "Is My Own Prison," and you listen to the words of that, and it basically just talks about that own self, that whole nasal gazing, and you're just gazing at yourself. You're just inside of yourself because you're just stuck inside that, and you can't see outside of the troubles.
We built it from the inside out.
Absolutely, you can't see those troubles, and you just can't get rid of, and everybody around you sees it except for you, right?
It's a new freedom.
Yep.
A new happiness that we've never experienced.
Right.
I mean, that's when Bill talks about, that the rocketed into the fourth dimension. Yep. I don't tell that. When I first read that one, and I was in Maynard's, what is this fucking nut talking about? But rocketed into the fourth. Now I do. I know it.
I know, but I was rocketed into that when I was in recovery. Yeah. I had it. So the more and more I get into the AA, I realize I'm an anomaly when it comes to that. Not a lot of people got it as quickly as I got it.
No.
And I probably was, maybe God realized that if I didn't get it that way, I probably wasn't going to get it. Well, I needed to be struck hard.
Well, he knows that. And he put things in your life, in your path that you needed.
I definitely, we will not regret the past. This does not mean we become proud of everything we do. It means that the past stops owning us. Mm-hmm. Through the steps, the past becomes something we can learn from. The shame begins to lift because we stop hiding from the truth. I read something the other day. It's in Isaiah 43:18, and it basically backs that up right there. And give me just a second, because as I was reading that, it made me think of this right here. Isaiah 43:18. Here we go. Steve is going to be so proud of me that I did some Bible study. It says, "Forget." This Isaiah 43:18. "Forget what happened long ago. Don't think about the past. I am creating something new. There it is. Do you see it? I have put roads in deserts, streams in thirsty lands." And I read that the other day. I don't even know where that came up to me the other day. But if you read the whole thing, it's talking about how he's already destroyed everything around it. You need to start looking at everything was starting to lay out in front of you. And I think so many times the alcoholic can get so embedded even in his recovery, he doesn't see these promises happening in front of him. How many times have we been sitting in a meeting? I've heard you say it. I think I've heard Pat say it. I've heard other people say it, that you hear these younger guys that are new into sobriety. They're talking this, they're talking that. They're not poor me, but they're talking this. And even sometimes, and then you'll go, but that's what's written on the wall right there. That's the promises that are coming back, And they don't recognize it. They don't understand it.
But for the first 3 years, I went to a meeting every day.
Yeah, I didn't.
I just had my head to this grindstone and just going.
And you didn't see the positive stuff that was happening around you.
At times I did, but I was just so broken when I got here. It was just doing, just do the next right thing. Mm. And I didn't lift my head up until God brought me kind of out of primary for a while, then sent me to Oakdale. Yeah. Then when I changed up the way I do the steps, and then a whole new
When did you get your second? When did you get Kurt, your second sponsor?
2.5 years. When I was
2.5 years.
2013.
Okay.
October 2013. Exactly.
Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us.
It doesn't say fear. It doesn't say people and economic insecurity will leave us. It says fear of.
Fear of. Yeah. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. This does not mean we never feel free again. It means fear stops being the driver. We may still feel fear, but we do not have to obey it. We do not have to control everything, overwork ourselves, prove ourselves, or demand respect from everyone just to feel okay. So Doug's going to be here on Wednesday, because one of the things I've been dragging my foot on, when I did my first fifth step, not first, that makes it sound stupid, but when I did my fifth step with Doug after working through the 4 steps and coming back again, when I got to the end of the fifth step, I looked over at Doug. I says, I'm not done. I'm not done. I have to go back and do this again, because I felt as I was going through those first sections of that, I thought I was done. But as I was going through that fifth step with Doug, I'm like, I got more here. This isn't it. So I've been, and it's the fear side of it. Even when I did my steps with you, I didn't step on the fear side of things, because I still struggle with that fear. And whatever that fear is, whether it's fear of insecurities, whether it's fear of losing everything I got, whether it's a fear of losing her, whatever that fear is, that anxiety. Katie said right before getting on the show, she's like, I got anxiety. Holy shit, this girl never gets anxiety. I don't know what that was about. Did you ever figure it out?
You.
There you go.
My bad. Yeah, so she feeds off of me. Damn it, Katie. You didn't have to agree so quickly.
Whew, it's been a morning.
So, well, I had technical difficulties. Anyway, so yeah, that fear of it, those insecurities, the fear thing is something I still struggle with tremendously. I don't make decisions based off of fear.
Never.
I don't do that. I have gotten to where I recognize that I don't
Because
make...
there's one thing I preach to everybody. What is it? We don't make decisions based on fear, guilt, shame, remorse. It's I don't care. And I was explaining this. Me and Bonnie are sitting in the jacuzzi that we have up at the. Because she wants to go back to her. She wants to go through the steps now.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Good for her. What
wants-
jacuzzi you got?
Up in the hotel that we get out down there.
Oh, you find you a special one, did you?
Yeah. It's what she loves. It. She loves,
Yeah.
big bathtubs. But what were we talking about? Fear?
Yeah, fear.
I forgot what we're talking
We got all confused right there.
Oh, decisions. Make it based on the wrong motives.
You got to think about Bonnie in a tub. You got all distracted.
Oh, I tried to get a little extra always. But I said we don't make decisions based on fear.
Right.
Share what shows. What do you mean? I said because you can do all the right things for all the wrong reasons. There's no blessing in it for you.
Right.
She says example. I said okay, babe, I'm going to go help that old lady with the groceries. Okay, Rob, why? It's the right thing to do. All right, the blessings in the action.
Right.
Don't do it because you want God. The blessings in the action. Now, hey, Larry, I'm going to go help that old lady with the groceries. Why, Rob? Fuck, if I don't, I'm going to feel guilty because I know it's the right thing. Then don't go do it.
Right.
There's no blessing in it for you if that's your motive.
True fact.
So that's it. Make sure your motive is right. Why are you doing what you're doing?
Right.
That's what God wants to know.
God
if
is
it's right. Do it.
and
If it's not, let someone else do it.
God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves.
Which is what? Which is what? What does that really mean? What is God doing for us that we could? What is the one thing that we in all this?
I couldn't take away that alcohol.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I couldn't
the
take it away.
obsession.
Yeah, the obsession. I couldn't take that away. I had to turn it over.
And then once he did that, all the rest follows. But that's what God does for us
But
every day.
but that was the hardest thing for me to turn over.
Correct.
Once I turned that over, everything else come rolling out. Now, my character flaws, I still grab a hold of.
We're human.
Right,
And
right.
We'll get.
And that's my
As
point.
time goes, we will get filed down a little more, a little more.
You know, I just sent an email off the other day to my controller, to the company controller, because I got a little defensive because she wasn't seeing things my way. Right?
Motherfucker, does she know who you are? Sorry, Katie, there's an F word.
I recognized my defensiveness 2 days later, and I'm like, okay, I couldn't. One of those things where something's bothering me. I know what it is. So I jump up there and I'd say, hey, I still work on some of my character flaws, and this is, because you didn't see it my way, I kind of got defensive on this, and that's not right. I still believe I'm right, but I shouldn't try to portray it on you, and I don't think I should have been defensive on the way you see it. We just need to find a common ground.
Yeah.
And we did, right? Once my defensive came down, I found a little leadway, she found a little leadway.
Just agree to disagree, but didn't hear.
But we had to solve.
Right.
We had to solve a common problem.
Yeah, adult shit. What do you know? Adult shit.
Fuck that adult shit. Anyways, so yeah, these are, and then hold on, I'm not done. So with this, yeah, I am not that. So as I got through this, I remember you always saying how these 12 steps and you disagreed with me. You said I never said that, and I remember you saying that our 9-step promises follows the 12 steps. It follows it. But you did, as I was reading this, you said it again. You go step 1. That's step 2. That's step 3. Did you not?
Not really. I don't think.
Okay.
I might have. Who knows?
If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we'll be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. Mm-hmm. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. So now you're not saying it on purpose.
No, I know. I was counting them.
Oh,
how many promises there were? 1 promise, 2 promise, 3 promise.
okay.
4.
Maybe that's what I misunderstood. Now let's talk about the 10-step promises that you said that I'm missing.
Okay. No, but I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read half of the 9th step promises real quick, so you get a flavor. If we listen for that, all I want you to listen for is one word. We every time. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, what's going to happen? We will be amazed before we are halfway through. That's 2 promises. We are going to know new freedom, promise, and a new happiness, promise. Right. Mm-hmm. Every time there's a we. That's 9 steps. Let's go to the 10-step promises, as they call them, as I like it. I like them better. And it says...
What page you on?
That's right next to 84. Bottom of 84.
Gotcha. In your pamphlet? In your pamphlet.
His well-loved book.
It says, love and tolerance towards our code, and we have ceased fighting anything and anyone, even alcohol, for by this time sanity will have returned.
Okay.
We will seldom be interested in liquor. That's a promise. If tempted, we recoil from it as if from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we find that this has happened automatically. Another promise. We will see that our new attitude towards liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That's a great promise right there. That's God doing for us
Right.
what we couldn't do for ourselves.
Okay.
That is the miracle of it, Larry. We are not fighting it. Neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we have been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. God, it does not exist for us. We are neither prideful, cocky, nor are we afraid. This is our experience. This is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual conditions. So between the 9th and the 10th, every time you see a we, there's a promise that follows.
Isn't a promise something that somebody knows exactly what's going to happen?
Well, it's a promise is something that somebody can guarantee is going to happen. Like if I promise you X, Y, Z, that means I can guarantee the outcome.
So Bill is saying to us, and Bob is basically saying to us,
well,
because we've done this, we know it's going to work.
But there's also a caveat. There's also a qualification. If we're painstaking about this phase of our development, and at the end of the 10th step, this is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual conditions. If we keep ourselves at the firing on the front lines with God and with our brothers and sisters, this is how we react.
And half measures availed us nothing. Nothing. And I think that's what a lot of people, AA never worked for me.
Because they never did the work.
Because you never worked for AA.
They didn't do the work because you didn't do the work to start with.
You didn't do the work.
So what I have said about the 9th step promises, like I said about, if you want the third step to come to fruition, right? God, I offer myself to thee today to build me, right?
Right there.
Yeah, you do. That doesn't take place till you do the work, 4 and 5.
Right.
Then we go home, take the book off the shelf. We do that 7th step prayer. God, I'm willing that you should have all of me, the good and bad, ask that you now remove every single defect. Right. The answer to that prayer is in the 9th step promises. But what takes place in between 8 and 9? The work.
Right.
Don't pray for a hole while you're leaning on a shovel. Start digging if you want results.
That was Brandon's most impactful thing that he heard in a meeting, by the way, yesterday.
What's that? Well, my little shovel thing.
Yeah, don't lean on a shovel and expect a hole to be dug.
Yeah, don't pray for a hole.
Brandon, actually, no, that was Brandon's, and Derek's was one of yours as well. I'm trying to remember what Derek said, but anyways, so. Even Scott said before he goes, it was funny. Scott said, "Now we all know that you're going to recite the one little guy that's not here, but that was so funny." But that was anyways.
But you know what? How grateful that makes me that
it is
that people listening here, because you know why? If God can do all that with me,
right?
And you all know me, right. What can He fucking do with you,
right? And that's
with people with some real talent.
Yeah, they for sure. And you don't discount yourself like
but
that.
But I know me.
Yeah.
No one knows me like I do.
Well, you know your inner thoughts, but you also know what you give to this program, what you give to these group of guys, and you know we give what I give behind these walls and inside this studio. Not everybody sees what you give is so far out there that everybody can see, and it's very impactful. You know, we all give in the way that God uses me is different than the way God uses you. The way God uses Katie, the way that God uses Bonnie. We all get used, but to me, if we allow Him,
there's a qualifier.
Right. Yes, and I was just getting ready to get to that.
Guys,
if we allow Him,
what did Isaiah
to use
say?
It. About the past?
No, when the angel came by and put a hot coal on his tongue.
You think I'm going to remember that? You're the one with the photographic memory.
Who's going to go forth for me? Who can we send? Who's going to go forth? Here I am, God. Send me.
Isaiah.
Yeah. So, but how many people say that? Because I don't want to say that because I know He's going to send me as a missionary to fucking Africa. And probably not. Sorry, King. But probably not. He's probably not going to do that because that's not what you're called. But if He did,
right,
before God gives you the desires of your heart, He's going to change your heart's desire. Before He sent you to Africa, He would give you the heart of someone who wanted that. He's not going to send you there. So that's a fear. Right. So you're not going to give God yourself because you're afraid of what He's going to do with you. Guess what? You're going to be... If you're worried about the cost of going for it, you should see the price of staying exactly where you
Yes,
are.
true fact. That's a good point. Absolutely.
Quote that one. That's good.
That was a good one. Wow. Put that one on a.
I mean, but can you imagine standing before him and saying, "Man, look what I had for you to do.
Right.
Look how many people I
Well,
wanted you to touch."
We started this podcast with you saying that same thing, right?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we did. You said that right in the very
That guy-
beginning.
That's a brilliant little bastard.
You are for your height. You're amazing.
Not bad, huh? I can't even touch I can't even reach the smart books. They're way up here. I got to read this. Clifford the Big Red Dog. That's all I get.
Rob.
Do you remember that book?
What?
Clifford the Big Red Dog. I love that guy.
All right, Mr. Rob, we beat this one up.
So wait, no.
What?
Katie,
Uh-oh.
Yes.
I need your opinion.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna do more reading. We're gonna know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit us. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. Man, these are great, though. I don't know. I was going to ask her which ones are better, but, from an outside, but she's probably going to say these.
It's hard. I figured that's where you were going.
Well, and here's 10. And we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. We will seldom be interested in liquor. These are more practical.
Mm-hmm.
If tempted, we recoil from it as if from a hot flame. This is the practicality of it. These are more high and lofty. The ninth step, the more spiritual, metaphysical promises. These are more down to earth. That's kind of cool. I didn't notice that. Great ones. So yeah, they're both great. I prefer the 10th step because
I'm going to answer because the best thing that gave me hope through those promises was we will not forget the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. When I read that and that one finally stuck in, that's when I was like, yeah, I don't regret anything I've done because it's got me right here to where I'm at.
What does the book tell us about our past? It is the greatest asset,
Yes.
if we use it correctly, that we can have to gain the confidence of nothing. And that's true. My past has helped more alcoholics than it has ever hurt me.
Absolutely.
And that's the goal.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Mr. Rob, we will be back with Parker. We're going to be back with Parker. And Katie, you got anything for Rob before we leave? Good? You sure?
Great.
My ADHD stayed right where it needed to be? All right, close us out, baby.
Thank you for listening to the Recovery Unfiltered podcast. If you'd like to reach out to us, please email us at recoveryunfilteredpodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, boy.